It is Friday night. That means many of you are getting ready to go out on the town, people making your weekend plans, and a certain guy who lives in Washington is probably gearing up to unleash a Twitter storm tomorrow, and his staff is probably bracing for what he tweets. Media watchers speculate that Donald Trump does that because he can dominate a news cycle on an otherwise quiet day. And for some reason, he seems to have these Twitter outbursts on Saturday mornings, and nobody knows why. Certainly doesn't make life any easier for the staffers who have to do damage control on Saturday and Sunday and Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. Last Saturday, of course, he sent a series of tweets accusing President Obama of wiretapping Trump Tower. The Saturday before that, he wasn't quiet either. He tweeted about skipping the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And by the way, the last president to do that was Ronald Reagan in 1981. He had a good excuse. The Gipper was recovering from a gunshot wound after an assassination attempt. And we have two Republicans at the table tonight. And tomorrow morning, Saturday morning, you're waking up, you're checking your Twitter feed. You see that there's a tweet from Donald Trump. Are you nervous? No. Are you worried about it? Are you, again?
No. I'm going right to Andrew Whitman's tweet page and see what he said about it.
I never tweet on Saturday morning.
No?
No, seriously. When you know that he's out there on Twitter, are you worried about it?
If I'm a staffer?
No. If you're you.
If I'm me, yeah, I do. I mean, I thought it went a little too far last week, but I understand why as far as a communication strategy. I mean, it got the attention off of the Sessions talk. But I do think it is a distraction. We were just talking about the jobs report that came out today. It does take the focus away from why people elected him, what his core message is, and it just makes us go in this direction that is just not helpful to the Republican Party or the brand.
Although, Dominic, I keep wondering, if you're saying it doesn't necessarily help the party or remind people why they elected him, but his Twitter account is to a certain degree why he did get elected. I mean, it served him well in the campaign. Has that worm turned for him?
It hasn't turned, but my prediction, it hasn't turned in the negative, but my prediction is we won't, and I could prove to be wrong, we won't see any tweets, and certainly not any inflammatory or controversial tweets from the president. He stepped in it so badly last Saturday. Who makes news on a Saturday? In the world of politics, that's Siberia.
That's a fair point.
You just don't do it. But Donald Trump, it's 5 a.m. and Melania's not at the White House to keep him company, and he's pissed off, and Mark Levin says something on the radio, and he's just firing away. What did the old lady say in the commercial? Where's the beef? Was that the commercial? Where's the beef? So I don't think he's going to tweet tonight.
But Richard, when the president is tweeting about things like being wiretapped at Trump Tower, everybody's focused on that. I mean, Jeff Sessions was in the news last week for his Russia meetings. People stopped talking about that. I mean, it just seems like that turns the page for a lot of folks, and especially for the media, who then try to chase down whatever the heck Trump was saying. Is it working for him or against him at this point?
No, I would say that tweet did not work for him, especially with no proof of it happening. Although to a certain extent, the Congress is taking a look at it, but ultimately, when you got the intelligence community and the director of FBI saying, "Look, there's nothing there," it's not very helpful. What is helpful, though, is 235,000 jobs were created last month, and I think if we're going to hear a tweet, we're going to hear the president talk about jobs.
Maybe. And thank you for setting me up, because about the same number of jobs were created last February, and about the same number of jobs were created the February before. There's something about February. Good numbers, and Trump gets credit for those numbers.
Confidence is up, too.
But February, those are fairly
Can I take issue with one thing Dominic said?
And then I want to take issue with something President Trump said.
Then I'd like to take issue.
It's not, he doesn't tweet on Saturday morning from the White House. He does it from Mar-a-Lago in Florida.
That's
so
right.
there might be something in the water down there.
That's right.
So maybe he should spend
maybe
more time in the White House. Right.
Yeah,
when he's away from the staff, things seem to go.
You are correct.
By the way, I think he's in Washington this weekend.
Now, here's the one thing I want to take exception to. Those great job numbers, 245,000? 35,000. Bravo, Mr. Trump. But isn't this the same candidate that trashed those reports when he was running for office?
Yeah, but now
didn't he say it didn't count when the numbers were going up under Obama? I'm just saying.
They're much better under him, obviously, than Obama. And unemployment is down to 4.7%.
I'm bringing it back to Twitter for my last question on this, because after the tweet storm last weekend, we got a lot of people, including Sean Spicer, basically saying you can't take what he says or what he tweets literally.
The president of the United States.
He's the president of the United States. At some point, don't we have to start holding him accountable for what he literally says?
But this is the same thing during the campaign where people didn't take him
Wasn't
literally
the
and
president,
still elected
wasn't
him.
the president of the United States during the campaign?
But
He
was
is now.
a presidential candidate, and most presidential candidates, if not any of I've seen in modern history, have followed the same tact as him.
Not what I'm asking.
And
He's the
we're
president
elected.
of the United States. What he tweets can move markets.
Absolutely, but Richard is right, and that's something the Democrats never understood during the campaign, is that Trump supporters never took him literally. They took his themes, they took him thematically, and that's something that the press still hasn't figured out. But to your question, a sitting president accusing a former president the way he did,
So he can say
it does not
anything?
sit well
He
with
can
me
say
as an
just
American.
about anything, since we're not taking him literally.
I
He can
wouldn't say that. He can say just about anything. But I certainly would prefer that he don't go to Twitter as much, and if he is, do something talking about jobs and unemployment down.
Stick to the issues.
All right, stick to the issues, but not,
Andrew,
the
I know
president.
you have to talk
should've
so bright.
avoided that.
I know you have to talk so bright. I just want to ask you a quick question. Didn't every syllable that came out of Obama's mouth, wasn't he accountable for it? So shouldn't we just have one set of rules?
There is one.
I'll leave it right there. We'll take a break. Up next, Democrats are out of power in Washington. They are also in the minority in most state houses across the country. Plus, their poll numbers are plummeting. We'll show you those numbers and ask how they can reverse the slide.